In the heart of the 16th century, a palace stretched wider than the eye could see, its stone walls hiding secrets that would shake an empire. One man ruled armies that trembled Europe, his name spoken in awe and fear. Yet history did not remember him for conquests or battles. It remembered him for a glance, a single, fleeting glance in a shadowed corner, and the woman who changed everything. Her name was Hürrem, and the love she shared with Sultan Suleiman would defy tradition, challenge power, and leave a mark on a world built on loyalty, fear, and ambition. Hürrem's story began far from the grandeur of the palace, in a small town where the air was filled with the scent of fresh bread and the distant tolling of church bells. She was the daughter of a priest, a girl whose mornings were gentle, predictable, safe. But that peace shattered one night when flames rose on the horizon. The Crimean Tatars descended on her village with ruthless precision. Homes were swallowed by fire, men were slaughtered, and women were dragged into chains. Hürrem heard her mother's final scream, a sound that would echo in her memory forever, shaping the woman she was to become. She was only 17 when she arrived in Constantinople, thrust into the chaos of the slave market. Merchants, traders, palace agents, all searched for new faces, new bodies, new servants. Among them, the men of the Valle Sultan moved with a cold, practiced efficiency, selecting concubines for the palace. When the sunlight caught her red hair, a ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd. Her beauty was unconventional, but her eyes held a strange, inviting warmth. The coins exchanged that day did not buy freedom, they bought destiny. Life inside the palace was a world apart from everything she had known. Every glance, every word, every movement was measured. Hürrem was trained meticulously, sewing, music, language, etiquette, becoming a reflection of a world she had never imagined. Her vivacity made her stand out. She was no longer Alexandra of Ruthenia. She was now Hürrem, the cheerful one, a name given by Sultan Suleiman himself. And it was a name that would be remembered for centuries. When Hürrem was brought before Sultan Suleiman for the first time, the air in the palace seemed to shift. He had been young when he ascended the throne, the weight of an empire pressing down on his shoulders. Concubines came and went, each one a duty, a ceremonial gesture, a fleeting curiosity. But Hürrem was different. She did not try to dazzle him with jewels or beauty. She spoke with intelligence, with courage in her eyes. And in that moment, Suleiman saw something no one else had shown him, a mind as sharp as his own, a spirit unafraid to meet his gaze. From that first meeting, Hürrem was no longer just a concubine. She became a presence that filled the halls with quiet power. Her laughter, her words, her mannerisms echoed in every corner of the palace. And where she shone, jealousy followed. Mahidin, the former favorite, felt her influence slipping. The palace, a gilded cage of luxury and politics, became a battlefield. Hürrem understood that silence could be lethal, that every word and gesture could shift the balance of power. It was not just a fight between women. It was a clash of eras, tradition confronting change, old customs challenged by new ambition, and Suleiman's heart sat at the center of the storm. Over time, Hürrem's role evolved. She became not only a beloved companion, but a trusted advisor. Letters from Suleiman, even when he was away on campaigns, spoke not just of longing, but of matters of state. For a sultan to confide in a woman was unheard of. Hürrem had entered not only his heart, but the very soul of the empire. Then came a choice that no one could have predicted. Suleiman married Hürrem. To wed a former slave was revolutionary, defying centuries of Ottoman tradition. It solidified her position, but ignited further envy and resentment. Even the valid sultan, the highest authority in the land, questioned the decision. Yet Suleiman had chosen love over protocol. He would not just be a ruler, he would be a lover, a partner, in a bond that would endure through letters, gifts, and whispered words in the quiet of the palace. Their love, however, came with a price. The palace was never a place for peace. Rivals lurked in every shadow, ready to tarnish Hürrem's reputation. She was called a witch, a manipulator, a threat to the established order. Yet she endured, not through fear or submission, but through intellect, patience, and an understanding of the subtle currents that ruled the court. Every letter she wrote, every decision she advised carried weight. Hürrem was no longer just a sultan's beloved. She had become the architect of influence, shaping the empire alongside him. Years passed. Suleiman, once a young ruler burdened by ambition, grew into a man tempered by love and responsibility. Hürrem's sons rose within the palace hierarchy, their futures intertwined with the fate of the empire. But triumph brought vigilance. She knew that the seeds of rivalry among her children mirrored her own battles with Mahidevran, and she prepared for conflicts that might span generations. Her power, like silk, was strong yet delicate, carefully balanced between affection and authority. When Hürrem finally passed away, Suleiman was struck by silence. Days without her felt like winter in the palace, cold and hollow. In her memory, he had her tomb constructed beside his own, a testament to a bond that neither death nor politics could sever. Their story was etched not only in stone, but in the very walls of Topkapi Palace. Some say that on quiet nights, a whisper drifts through the corridors. "I am Hürrem, and this palace changed with me." This was not a simple tale of romance. It was the story of an era where love could challenge empires, where a single woman could reshape tradition, and where a ruler, the most powerful man in the world, found in her presence a peace and passion no throne could offer. Their legacy is a reminder that history is not only made in battlefields and councils, but in hearts brave enough to dare love in a world built on power, suspicion, and duty. Hürrem entered the palace as a slave, yet she left it as the heartbeat of an empire. Every corridor she walked, every chamber she graced, carried the echo of her presence. Suleiman's love for her was not fleeting. It was a force that shaped policy, strategy, and the very soul of the Ottoman court. Their letters, tender and profound, reveal a connection that transcended duty, expectation, and tradition. "My heart burns without you," she wrote. He replied, "The palace feels cold without you." These words were not mere sentiment. They were proof that even the most powerful man could find his center in the love of a single woman. But love in this world was never simple. Intrigues continued, rivalries persisted, and every victory in the palace could invite peril. Hürrem faced these dangers with intellect and courage, mastering a world that was designed to consume her. She foresaw threats, guided her children, and ensured that her influence would ripple through generations. Her presence changed the very nature of power in the empire, proving that strength and compassion could coexist, that love and politics could intertwine without surrendering either. When Hürrem passed, the empire mourned in silence. Suleiman, the sultan who had commanded armies and nations, wept for the woman who had commanded his heart. Her tomb beside his own was more than a monument. It was a symbol that their love had become inseparable from the history of a world they had ruled together. A story written in whispers, silk, and enduring devotion. Even today, wandering through the quiet rooms of Topkapi Palace, one might feel her presence, not as a memory, but as a force that once altered the course of empires, a reminder that history is made not only by rulers and soldiers, but by those whose courage, intelligence, and love leave an imprint so profound that it resonates across centuries. Hürrem was not just a concubine, not just a sultan's wife. She was a revolution in flesh and heart, a story as delicate as silk and as eternal as the empire she helped shape.